Well, the Caravan for Peace has been traveling across the United States. We are very lucky to have our very own cultural correspondent, Mr. Dean Becker from Cultural Baggage and the Drug Truth Network, right here on the line as our own correspondent. Dean Becker, thank you for joining us.
Oh, Marlo, thank you for this opportunity to talk to our fellow Houstonians.
Well, let's talk about this. Update us on the Caravan's progress. Where are you now?
Well, we've just made it into San Antonio, spent the night in McAllen. We were down in Brownsville, been all across the south of Texas trying to awaken people in Laredo, back it up a little bit to Tucson, Phoenix, Santa Cruz, Santa Fe, into California, San Diego, and Los Angeles. So we're headed to Houston. We'll be there Sunday and Monday morning. And what we're hoping is that people who have heard our programs, Cultural Baggage, Drug Truth Network, 420, Drug War News, will come out, will show their support for these people who have suffered so greatly. Last night we spent a couple of hours in a little town called Alamo, right there about a half a mile from the Mexican border. And the fact of the matter is, and I don't mean individually, I mean as a nation, we are responsible for about 70,000 plus deaths in Mexico because of our fear of flowers and shrubbery.
Dean,
go ahead.
Dean, tell us some of these stories from some of the people you've heard along the way. Give us an idea of what you're hearing from people.
Yes, ma'am. Well, we travel with 2 busloads of people, friends and family of those who have been murdered, butchered, and mutilated and disappeared in Mexico. But each town we go to, especially here in the Texas border, like last night there in Alamo, they asked for a show of hands of the locals who had lost a loved one, a dear friend, to this violence. And it was about 80% of them who have lost a loved one to this madness. Because it's not that these people are drug traffickers or even drug users. It's the fact that they dared to go into Mexico and they get caught up in this violence, which is so prevalent, and which is the solutions to these crimes is about 2 to 5%. So it's just total impunity for these people, these madmen, these butchers south of our border who wage this drug war. And we have heard the stories of people who have their relatives disappeared, which seems to be the saddest situation of them all, because they can't locate the bodies. They're hoping they're alive. They're hoping they're slaves here in America to the sex trade. They're hoping for some spark of potential. And those are the ones who you see the sadness on their face. It never leaves.
Dean, how is the Caravan itself being perceived? These are, for whatever reason, somewhat considered controversial topics. How has the Caravan been received in the places where you've gone?
Everywhere we go, it is received with open arms, with hope, smiles. The hope for dignity may return to their communities, the hope that somehow we may end this situation. As a quick example, we went to Taco Cabana today, told the man the story. He understood. His daughter died of a heroin overdose, but he knows it was because of prohibition that no one could pick up the phone. No one would dare to call the authorities to potentially save his daughter. He gave us a 50% discount, which was all he could do. People understand. You, listener, you understand this situation. You're afraid to talk about it at work, at school, anywhere, because it's been a taboo subject for so long. But the hysteria, the propaganda is becoming more and more exposed. We all are beginning to realize that this is a failure, doomed to eternal failure. 42 years since President Nixon declared this drug war, and drugs are cheaper, purer, more freely available to our children. We are empowering our terrorist enemies if they just dare grow opium flowers on that mountainside. These barbarous Latin cartels make $50 billion a year. And a lady asked me, how much is that per day? It's about $140 million a day flowing into the coffers of these cartels. And, of course, this drug war gives reason, basically the only reason, for more than 30,000 violent gangs to prowl our neighborhoods with high-powered weaponry, selling drugs to our children at a 17,000% markup. Where is the benefit? What have we derived that justifies this policy? And I say there is no answer to that.
Well, Dean, thank you for your passion. Now tell us, how can other people get more information on how they can participate?
Yes, please. Sunday, they can come to the Caravan Welcome and Lunch. That's going to be at the Dominican Sisters of Houston. That's 6501 Alameda Road. 3 to 5 p.m., the Caravan for Peace will be at St. Paul Methodist Church, and that's at 5501 Main Street. From 7 to 8 p.m. on Sunday at the Rothko Chapel, there will be a public program presentation by Javier Cecilla, the Mexican poet who leads these caravans. And I urge people to please show up, show your willingness to at least discuss this need for change. And let's see, 7:30 to 8 p.m. there will be a community march from St. Stephen's Picor Chapel back to the Rothko Chapel, and this is a chance for you to show you understand the fallacy of this whole situation.
All right. Well, Dean Becker, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. And, of course, our listeners know they can always hear you online 24 hours a day at drugtruthnetwork.org. And, of course...
Please, friends, go to caravanforpeace.org. There you can learn more. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Becker. Caravanforpeace.org. Of course, we will put that on our Facebook for you. But you can also always hear Dean Becker right here from 6 to 7 p.m. every Sunday night.